It is 6:30 PM on May 19, 2025. I'd like to call this regular meeting of the Old Saybrook Police Commission to order. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we do anything else, I invite a motion to amend the agenda to hear a report from the Director of Information Technology, Larry Hayden. We'll do that after comments from the public, correspondence, and the meeting minutes.
So it'll be
It'll be item 5. Item 5.
Okay.
May I have that motion?
Yes, I'll make that motion.
I have. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Jessica,
I said aye.
okay. All right, comments from the public. Do we have any comments in the live public?
No, I don't have it this time.
Okay. How about in our online audience? Raise your hand if you'd like to comment. Larry?
No hands are raised.
Okay. Let's go on to correspondence. I have nothing to report other than what I've already circulated.
Thank you.
Okay, item 4, discussion and possible action on the meeting minutes for the regular meeting of April 28. I suggest that we table this if we can, because the packet only included pages 1, 3, and 5. And I didn't notice that until around 5 o'clock.
I make a motion, we table the minutes.
Can we do that, Ms. Secretary?
Well,
Madam
we
Secretary?
could, but the minutes have been online. So,
But I don't.
I know you haven't seen them, but I can.
didn't look at them online either.
All right, well, no, we'll table them.
All right, thank you.
So, did you make that
I
motion?
made a motion
All
to
right,
table it.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. All right, Larry.
Yes, so most of you, I hope, have received the email message regarding the change of the email. If you haven't, please check your email. So what is happening is we are going through a email service upgrade, which is going to require that the email services get moved. And as part of this, we're going to end up having to re-authenticate your user IDs. So for people who only have remote accounts and don't log in while they're at town hall, you will be receiving a temporary password, which you'll use on Friday to go ahead and establish your first connection. And it'll have you reset the password to whatever you want it to be. And then the password situation will be set up. The instructions will include how to access the email via the Microsoft web email, which I know some of you do, and some of you, it's a method to getting to it. When all else fails, you can get to it by going to outlook.office365.com. It'll be available there first thing in the morning. And then during the course of the morning, the contractors who are working on the transition will be reaching out and calling folks and assisting you with getting your email reset on whatever device you're using. If you're using iPhones or Androids, or if you're connected on your PC, hopefully when they get a hold of you, the device will be nearby and they can go ahead and take care of it. Otherwise, you can arrange to connect with them later and get it reconnected. Or if you want to stop by here, I'm going to be running around feverishly dealing with this for everybody in the building also, and we can get it reset.
Thank you. So they're going to reach out to us on Friday?
On Friday, after the mail is moved, because they can't get you reset until after the thing is done. So any email that's received over the course of the evening from the end of close of business on Thursday through Friday morning should be received and gotten. You'll just be able to pick it up after the reconnection occurs. So the good news is there was a time when it was supposed to happen last Friday, and this was going to go on, and today was going to be the whole ruckus in terms of getting people reconnected. But fortunately for you guys, it didn't happen on the day that you got the meeting. So,
Okay,
That's-
that's helpful. Thank you.
Be thankful for small things.
small things. Are there any questions about that?
No. When I read your email, I might as well have been reading Martian. I just had.
You'll definitely get.
Thank you for the feedback, and thank you for the time on the agenda.
Thank you.
I do have a question. Does the authenticator still work for different devices, or do you have to set it up on one device? In other words, if I'm near my phone and I set up on my phone, but I go home and I want to pull it up on my computer at home, do I have to go through another
So
setup process?
the authenticator, whatever device you have the authenticator on, when it comes time to authenticate, you have to have the device there.
I got you, okay.
So if you're getting the email on your phone and it's going to bring up the authenticator on the phone, yes. If you're sitting on your computer, you should have your phone handy because it's going to come up on the phone.
Got it. Thank you.
Will it bring up the authenticator every time you try and log on?
No. The setting is supposed to be set, so during the time of the mail transition, it should not do that. The authenticator and the requirements for the authenticator will be reset after things have quieted down and everybody has gotten reconnected. So the expectation is you'll not have to fight through the authenticator with this password change.
Thank you. If there are no other questions, let's move on to the executive report from our acting chief.
Great, thank you, everyone. I believe you have your packets that Jen provided earlier in the week. If you have any questions about the operating budget, I can try and answer them for you. This time of year, everybody is cashing in remaining vacation days that they can't carry over until next year. So we're seeing a little bit of a bigger payroll than normal for these last 2 weeks, but that's anticipated and expected, and it shouldn't affect anything year to date of where we're going to land ahead of the budget.
I know this isn't your budget.
Yeah, it is now, I think.
But it is, you're administering it now.
That's right.
But if you go to the field service, regular employees.
Yep.
The third, fourth, and fifth items down are all substantially over budget.
Correct. Yeah.
Is there something that you can point to that occasions that?
So some of it is, if you look where the service holiday replacement, that has not been touched at all. When we select the code for the payroll, if it's vacation or holiday, that's just one block. So it all comes out of vacation, and then we just move that.
67,000.
Correct, yeah. So that'll just get moved into the vacation expense to even that out at the end of the year. Professional development, we've always had a number of people on field training. So all the hours going towards their field training is professional development.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
So we'll be ending in the black.
Correct.
For sure.
For sure.
Do you anticipate any expenditures that are not included within this budget to use that money for, or some of that money?
One thing we purchased was a new watch guard camera for the police boat. That's going to come out of the Marine Patrol budget. It was pretty much unfunctioning or not functioning at all. So to be on point with our policies, we have to replace that.
You know what the cost on that was?
But yeah, about 7,000. That includes installation.
I just have a quick question. The pistol permits. Now, is that like, do you guys only do Old Saybrook, or is that surrounding towns as well?
Only Old Saybrook. So we issue a temporary local permit, then they go to the state police to get their state permit.
A lot of pistol permits in Old Saybrook.
They're an amazing amount.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
You are-
Are we switched over to the new payroll system yet?
We're not. No.
Do we know when that might be? Are
So
we still looking at vendors?
We're still looking at vendors. We're trying to find, the town uses a system called UKG. So we're looking at the UKG Telestaff, which is their law enforcement portal,
Okay.
to see what that looks like on our end as scheduling. If that works well, then we'll be able to transfer it all over.
When is the
Any
next-
estimated timeline?
No, we were trying to meet with them on Friday and then we couldn't arrange it. So we're still scheduling like the demonstration for them. So hopefully during the summer at some point.
How did the training go for the officers that went for the training for the Marine?
It's good. So unfortunately, in Connecticut, to operate a boat, you don't need to actually drive a boat ever. You just need to go take this class, which tells you, rules of the road, navigational rules. So this isn't for them to then drive our police boat. It's just to get them familiar with the laws that they're going to enforce. So it's a good class. It's something everybody should have, but it doesn't make them, Marine operators. It just makes them Marine patrol officers where they can say, okay, that's a wake violation. I know that now, or, I know that person shouldn't be in that area, so we can go help them out. But it doesn't give us any more operators for the boat.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions on the operating budget? Any questions on the off budget?
I have one question under, youth uniform and awards.
Yeah.
April 10th, 2025, George, what it says done. Did that the account that would come out of?
I believe that was probably for the holsters, because that would be part of the uniforms.
Okay.
And that was part of the guns from 2023 when we transitioned. Finally wrapping that up, we delivered 15 up to Springfield that were due to be returned to them. So that was able to close that process out.
That's 5,900 funds, right? If I'm reading that correctly.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
I was wondering about that too.
Any other questions? All right. Any questions on the activity report? Or did you have any comment on that?
I can just talk about personnel.
Oh,
personnel
sure.
matters a little bit.
Jumping ahead.
Yeah. So thankfully, IT Director Gardner was able to work with Selectman Fortuna and has agreed to stay on until at least July 1st as we transition to a new service or a new company to come in and take over the IT. So obviously, he's done it for so many years that, he couldn't just hand me that password that Friday he was leaving and say, here you go. So it was smart of the town to work that out with Sergeant Gardner, and he's going to, remain on as we transition and get these new people up to speed with what we have. So that was very appreciative there. The dispatcher who was out on administrative leave has returned to work today. So that case was settled. The IA was closed and discipline was handed out in concert with the union agreement. Patrolman Fox and Rankin are continuing with their FTO program. It seems to be going very well. They're almost a third of the way through. So hopefully, by July 1 or so, we'll be able to get them on the road and we'll be individual assets, which will be a nice benefit. Once we do that, Patrolman Rankin is a certified boat captain, so he will be able to transition into helping us on the Marine Patrol a little bit. And then just want to mention that the newly promoted sergeants, Sergeant Moore and Sergeant Tanner, are both doing very well in their new role. Sergeant Moore is also FTOing at the same time, so that's been a hard transition for him. So it's a lot on his shoulders to learn how to be a sergeant and also, train one of the trainees. So it's but they're doing a very nice job. Obviously, there's some mistakes made along the way, but it's nothing you can't correct. So it's very nice. And then for professional development, Detective Simpson is attending the Chief State's Attorney Criminal Procedure Academy. So it's a nice class for an aspiring detective or newly appointed detective to learn a little bit more about search and seizure and just criminal procedures and dealing with courts. So that's a good class for him. And then I believe it's 10 Wednesdays, like 3 hours at a time.
And that's held in,
I believe Rocky Hill, right at the Chief State's Attorney's office. Any questions on the activity report?
Looks like you're busy.
We have been busy. Obviously, spring is sprung and summer's coming. So, certainly the weekends, you notice a difference in traffic. We've had a very large uptick in frauds over recent months. So I've actually appointed Detective Simpson and our community service officer, Sarah Solano, to put together some sort of presentation. I've met with the library and I've met with the estuary to try and get some appointments made where people can come in and see this presentation because it's just happening way too often with the elderly scams with the grandparents. And we had one last week where somebody, got a phone call saying, you won the Publishers Clearinghouse sweepstakes. You're going to get a new Mercedes. And over the course of 2 weeks, this victim went to the bank, withdrew $20,000, left it in her mailbox, and they came and picked it up. So thankfully, her bank called us last week and said, you really need to speak to this lady. So we went down, they had called her that day saying, okay, the car's on the way, you just need $15,000 today, put it in the mailbox and we'll drop the car. So instead of putting $15,000 in the mailbox, we put junk mail in the envelope and hung out in the area. And when the car came in, we were able to apprehend that person, arrest him for that charge and then get his phones and try and recover the rest of her money as well. So we just need to, educate the population a little bit that it's going on way too much. So we're going to dive into that this summer as well.
And I noticed that there seemed to be an uptick in traffic.
Yeah, so the activities increased greatly. Couple of new sergeants had some ideas. We kind of got into the habit of, the senior guy gets Rove, the junior guy gets A area, the second guy gets B area. So that Rove car is supposed to be the traffic car, but we were finding that the junior guys were getting more traffic stops. So we said, okay, let's give them traffic for the day, and let them go out and do that. And then it's almost become a little bit of a competition. So you'll see the numbers have gone up dramatically in the last month or so.
Not for tonight, but at some point, I'd like to have the commission consider red light cameras. So if you could give some thought to
Red light cameras, okay.
the pros and cons and how many we might find useful. Sure.
Would that have to go through the state? Because it's.
You have to get approval, yeah.
Through the state and also through, I think, the Board of Selectmen, I believe. That's a lot to look into.
We have a lot of people that run lights.
Yes,
We definitely
We
do
have to
that.
do something about the head of Main Street. The turn at the head of Main
Oh.
Street.
That left turn.
Yeah, the poor guy with the guy versus mail truck.
Oh, that crosswalk there, that's a terrible place for a crosswalk, yes.
We should have.
My friend was the guy who got out of his truck
Yeah,
and
that's-
administered first aid until the first
True.
responders
Okay.
arrived.
It should not be right on like that. That's the-
It should,
They just go.
but I know it's state run, but that needs to be addressed.
Addressed,
somehow.
yeah,
It's- I see it every Friday night when I go downtown.
When you go downtown,
Sitting
yeah.
at the lake.
Yeah, but there is a new statute that gives municipalities authority with working with the state.
Correct, yeah. And then there was actually just an email this week from DOT where they were looking at 3 or 4 other crosswalks. And I know it was several of the ones that the town is already doing on Main Street. And Selectman Fortuna responded to them saying, well, can you look at this one so I can maybe put Main Street on there for you as well, so.
On Main Street, it's just bad.
Yeah.
Part of it is the crosswalk, people don't stop the people, but then you get the people that are 10 feet from the crosswalk that don't go to the crosswalk to cross.
Yes,
Well,
yeah.
So that's-
he didn't have a crossing sign when he
Yep, that's
ran
always-
across the road. but
it's a
still,
double-edged-
It's just
it's
a
both.
bad.
It's a bad spot,
bad
yeah.
intersection.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
With the projects that are coming up that Mr. Fortuna has been talking about, what we have like 4 major ones that are pretty much happening throughout the summer, but mostly July until like September. Are we going to be manning that road work, for lack of a better term? Like, is there a plan on, or is the state going to be having their own workers manning it? Do you have a plan for that?
I believe it'll be the police department, the police officers working private duty jobs. There is a planning meeting this week for some road work out by the west end of town for those sidewalks. There hasn't been a meeting yet for the sidewalks on Main Street.
Do you think that it's going to be like overtime probably used? Because if they have 4 major projects going on at 4 different parts of town, we'll probably
Yeah,
need
it will be private duty, just like we do now for,
private duty, right? Right, you said that. Okay. Okay, thank you.
yep, you're welcome.
Yeah. Any other questions of the acting chief?
I have a few questions.
Yes.
The bike patrol this summer, how's that coming along?
So unfortunately, we lost Sergeant Hardy, who was one of the bigger certified police officers. We currently have just 2 part-timers, Gavinelli and Chiacco, who are bike certified. I did just see the school come up this week in West Hartford, so I was going to reach out to see if anybody was interested in doing it, because we do have the bike, so it is a nice, useful tool. And now we have the manpower, we can
Right.
actually put somebody out there as an extra unit.
That's nice to have, especially on Main Street.
Right.
The uniforms for the new hires, how's that coming for their summer?
I believe everybody has
Fire
everything in each
and-
end. Uniforms, or something?
still waiting for some stuff in there, but
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're all set with yours?
Same thing, waiting for them to come in, so it's
Okay, that's
You would think it would be easy, but it's a
I
slow
can
process
imagine
to,
that it's a
to
process,
get
no
that. So,
doubt.
yeah.
It's not like Land's End.
It's not like that, no.
Can't call
Yeah.
LLC.
I think we're such a small department too, I think you get a department like, Hartford, New Haven, where they're
Yeah.
ordering large amounts,
Cool.
they're gonna get the.
Yeah. The
service.
other thing was the patrol car. I know that you mentioned the last meeting that you met with the folks down at Grossman. How is that coming along? Like, do you feel?
It's just an ongoing, weekly
ongoing-
repairs, yeah, every time they go in, for oil changes, which is very routine because the cars run so often, they always find, a little something else, and, I was talking with some people today when they say, oh, the sway bar is bent. I can't not have that fixed if, my officers are out in those cars in pursuits and, responding at high speed to, to emergencies, so, there is a need to replace them and.
No pursuits.
No, well, unless it's a legitimate pursuit, but you still have to initiate a pursuit.
And
Yes.
then just the overall maintenance of like the interior. I know this was a topic a couple of meetings ago. I think it was more prior to your arriving as acting chief of the maintenance, the interior, exterior.
Oh, the vehicles or the?
Yeah, the vehicles.
Yeah.
Have you established like a protocol for either inspection or cleaning or?
So I've done two things. I have, reloaded the car wash cards and urged people to wash them. My plan is for July 1 is to get them all detailed and cleaned as we do normally. And I want to go back to the squad. So during COVID, we went to squads where the same 3 people use car 3 and then 2 other people use car 4.
Okay.
So that way there's a little bit of ownership to the vehicle in terms of, who's
So
leaving.
it's not so fluid.
So it's not so fluid, yeah. So, when you see a empty yogurt container on the floor, you can turn to your partner and say, hey, come on, let's take care of this a little better. So hopefully that will help improve the cleanliness of it.
Okay. And then any update on the graduations and how that's coming along?
So we're planning for them. So, high school graduation is Monday, June 16th. We usually do something for the middle school that day as well. So it is in the works. I've met with the principal at the high school to go over the parade route that they want to do again. So, that is all continuing.
That'll be.
So that is now a firmly established tradition.
It seems to be a tradition, yeah. So even
That's nice.
when I met with the superintendent, he was wondering the same thing. I said, well, if you guys want to do it, we'll continue it. It was my son's class was the first year that they did that because of COVID. So we sat in our cars in the parking lot and, it wasn't real normal graduation, but then they did that parade. So it is a nice tradition. And you see so many people lining the street. So it's a nice event for them.
And how are we doing for the Celebrate Saybrook?
So Chief Spira, retired Chief Spira, is mostly responsible for that.
Okay.
So obviously the resources of the department are at his use. I know he's been working with some of the dispatchers who did some of the logistical paperwork for that. They've been doing small assignments, renumbering a couple of different things. But I'm sure that will ramp up more here as we get a little closer to it.
Interesting that June is right around the corner.
It's right around the corner, yeah.
A lot of things
We
happening.
do, yeah.
Okay. All right, I'm interested in hearing more about that payroll and the scheduling. I know that's been an ongoing topic. I'd like to see a little bit more of some concrete information. So if we can kind of maybe move that along, that would be helpful. Thank you. I
Sure.
appreciate that.
When are the shorts coming up?
June 1st.
Can we move it up if it gets hot?
We'll look at it if it gets real hot, but it works.
Now, what are you guys gonna sponsor by this year?
We haven't identified that yet, but
That's totally what I was gonna ask.
I did poll everybody. They do want to do it. The union's going to support it. So, we're reaching out for different ideas.
I
Sports
also,
for seniors, the Meals on Wheels program.
yes.
Is it?
that's a great
I'll
one.
do that,
That is a great one.
Yeah.
I appreciate your efforts in coordinating with the team to update the website.
yeah. Okay.
So thank you
Yeah,
for that.
absolutely. Yeah.
And it's nice to see that continuing.
Good.
So that's helpful.
Yeah, we've actually, just did another update this week. So we actually went with an online records request. So instead of having to print out the form and drop it off or mail it in, it's just a fillable document right online. Somebody can request it and just get sent email, to us now.
fantastic.
So that's
That's great.
hopefully
Very-
streamline things as well.
Yeah,
Welcome to the 21st.
yeah.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's something we can do in-house, which is nice. So,
Great job. Thank you.
Any other questions? All right.
Thank you very much.
yeah, you're welcome.
Next item, discussion and possible action concerning the appointment of a local traffic authority.
I've sent around the memo that John Burcham, who was here with us, had forwarded. We do have a form that's come in from some administrator in New Britain, and that makes clear that it's an individual that they are looking for, a name. So I don't think we could just name the commission, but maybe I'm wrong in that inference.
I think there needs to be a designated, and historically, from what I can tell, and Chief Walsh can probably, being in the department, knows that Chief Sparrow was the designated representative of the local traffic authority. Typically, you see commissions or selectmen, somebody who is the quote unquote statutory local traffic authority, but who OTSA and the state interfaces is typically a chief. That's what you see.
And I know you have recommended it be the acting chief. I know Carl Fortuna has recommended it be the acting chief. I see no reason it shouldn't be the acting chief.
Do you need a motion?
I think we do need a motion.
I'll make a motion that acting Chief Walsh become the local traffic authority.
Designated.
Designated. Sorry about
I will
that.
second that.
Any discussion?
Like you need another thing.
It's, you know,
So I do just have a couple things to say. I mean, I think I spoke to Chubb a little bit earlier in the week, just saying, you know, I really think the police commission should take control of this for multiple reasons. But as I thought about it over the days, I think that my biggest problem was that we never really had communication from the prior chief on what was happening. So we could never give oversight on this type of thing. And then if you go like on social media, you see people who have been asking for over a year for a stop sign to be fixed that was knocked over, or a sign to be replaced. And it's those kind of things that I wish that we could give more oversight on. So I don't know if there's a way that we could, you know, add it to the executive reports where, hey, we went over to, you know, Ferry Road and, you know, fix the stop sign, or just some sort of way to provide our oversight on it. But yes, I agree that, you know, the acting chief should be the designee. I would just like to figure out a way, you know, to just sort of make sure that we're following through on things. Does that make
The police department goes and fixes the signs, Public Works does.
Right.
And I don't see a need to reinvent the wheel. We're gonna have a new chief within months. If I say it's just the acting Chief Walsh.
So for the time being, let's just leave it there.
very good.
Yes.
And I can certainly report if something comes up. You know, the way I understand it is, you know, I applied for the permit for the Memorial Day Parade because I know we needed that. But if somebody does come in with a stop sign request, you know, we look at it, somebody submits a report, and we can share that with the commission as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would imagine if there's anything to share, then you can
Certainly will, yeah.
put it on your executive reports, but not as a standard item.
Sure.
Okay.
And you know what, and I can do better of like, even if I see something on social media, I mean, well, she's been really, really good at, you know, getting on top of things. So I can always, you know, forward that kind of stuff to you too, if I see it. So,
Yep, you sure can.
okay.
All right. If there's no further discussion, let's call the question. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Bye.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, next item, discussion and possible action concerning the adoption of a citizen complaint bylaw. This is a holdover from my first year as the chair. And this was an item that PERF highlighted, and that they called it the most important of the recommendations. I've worked with John Burcham on the text that I've sent around to everybody. If anybody has any questions, comments, this would be a good time to raise them. Or actually, let's have a motion. I invite a motion to approve the proposed citizen complaints bylaw as submitted.
As presented, I will make that motion.
Is there a second?
We can't approve it tonight, right? We have to move it.
That's correct. We have to move it forward to,
So we're making a motion to move it to the next.
For approval.
All right, second,
okay. Any discussion tonight on this? Questions, comments, concerns?
The only thing I can say is after all the iterations that we have had of this bylaw, this is absolutely the cleanest. I think it captures exactly what it is that we've been talking about doing. And I was really impressed with the way the item number 4 particularly was written. And I'm very pleased with this.
So I haven't seen a copy of this. I don't know.
Would you like to read this? So, or
I can, sure.
You can have that. I'll just print another one.
I just feel like if people in the
I have
audience,
extras.
they can find it online, I understand that, but,
well,
Yeah,
it still
I-
has a month.
but
but
we can, exactly, so I think that if we
Okay.
did propose to read it, that may be helpful.
Well, I'll just read it and I'll read it pretty quickly. It's titled Citizen Complaints. Citizens may complain and or raise concerns to the police commission and or individual members of the commission regarding alleged misconduct by one or more members of the police department. If and when that happens, the commissioner, should proceed as follows. 1, the citizen should be advised that the department has a procedure in place for complaints, including anonymous complaints, which may be made either using the department's form or by letter or by telephone or voice messaging. 2, the citizen should be advised that the citizen may also submit a complaint directly to the commission as a whole. Such complaints may be presented in writing, orally, in person, by letter, electronically, or by any other means. In addition, anonymous and third-party complaints will be received. 3, if a citizen submits a complaint directly to the commission concerning a police officer below the rank of chief of police, the commission shall receive the complaint and forward it to the chief of police for processing in accordance with General Order 4.6. 4, if a complaint involves and or concerns allegations of misconduct or malfeasance by the chief of police, the commission shall consult with counsel as to how the complaint should be investigated or addressed, such as by referral to another law enforcement agency, by engaging independent counsel or private investigative agency, or by discussion with the chief of police. In addition, the commission shall notify the chief in writing within 5 business days that a complaint has been received, so that a complaint control number can be issued, and to satisfy the notice requirements authorized by Connecticut General Statute Section 7-294BB, see Post Model Policy 15-03, close paren.
Thank you.
If there's no further discussion this evening, all in favor of the motion to, I'm sorry, not yet, no.
I do have one question. So for paragraph 4, should that also refer to General Order 4.6 in addition to the post?
Section 4 typically is basically, as you probably know, you can see it parrots or language from 4.6 to
Right.
ensure compliance with that.
Right.
And that's what I think when this discussion started almost 3 years ago today, we wanted to ensure consistency with both General Order 4.6, which is predicated and based upon Post Model Policy 1503.
Right.
So I think the spirit is there.
But 4.6 contemplates an in-house investigation.
Right.
And the whole sense of paragraph 4 is that if it's the chief of police who's
Take it
the
outside.
subject,
Yeah.
Right.
the commission needs to think about other alternatives.
Right.
Hearing no other questions or comments, I call the question. All in favor of forwarding this to the next meeting for approval, signify by saying aye. Aye.
I,
Any? I think that was unanimous.
I don't know. Carl?
Carl? Okay. Unanimous. Judge. Now, comments from the public.
That would be me. My name is Dee and I live in Old Saybrook. One quick about this. Did this replace a citizen complaint document that's already in your bylaws, and is this a new one?
It's a new
Or
one.
is this this is the only one you've
This-
ever had?
This is the only one, yes.
Okay. No, I usually write notes up about stuff like this, but I didn't, so I'll just make it as brief as I can. I should say I'm representing other people than myself, but I'm not gonna do that because if they really wanted to participate, they would have come. But it's of great concern in Old Saybrook that, number one, we expect a very high level of transparency going forth that you all agree to, and you somehow set the framework for transparency to the public. The other thing I wanted to ask you, at one time, any of the police traffic violations were published in the paper. Are they still published?
Yes.
Why is that?
It's a like virtual press room, everything.
And so if you don't have a computer, you won't know.
Well, you can go to the library. They
You
have.
can go to the library.
Yeah, they have
I think
computers.
That's the best you can do.
But I should interrupt. Let me interrupt because
Sure.
public comment is designed for citizens to make comments to the commission. It's not a debate with the commission and it's not a question and answer session with
So
the
I'm
commission.
out of,
So you're sort of out of order, but I'm just, you know,
I feel like
I want you to have the opportunity to finish what you were going to say.
I don't think I should. I don't seem to be following whatever rule you have for public comment, and I'm not sure how I,
Okay.
I don't know.
Well,
This is what I have here, and it doesn't define comments from the public, it just says comments. And yeah, a comment, I'm not just commenting, you're right. But I will comment. Let me try commenting before you go through that paperwork. I'll just try to comment. To me, probably, I've been in town about 20 years. The most important thing going forward is finding a new police chief. Obviously, it needs to be done and it needs to be done correctly. So I know from hiring other people, and of course we all know this is one of the most important people in town, that the police commission have an idea of what they're looking for in a new police chief. I can tell you what I'm looking for. As old as it sounds, I'm looking for a different level of benevolence in the police department as a whole. And of course, it starts with the police chief. I can remember in years past, I was born and brought up in Hartford, that there was a benevolence of policemen. And for all of us as preteens or teens, where we were running through Hartford amok, so to speak, that we were sent home to our parents at our peril. And we didn't go through the police department, but the police made sure that we got home.
let me interrupt very briefly.
Alright.
No, hold on.
Yeah, we're almost out of time anyway.
One of our rules for public comment is 3 minutes, but
Oh, I'm sorry,
But-
did you?
but-
You know, maybe I've never been here before.
No, I understand.
All right,
I accounted for some of the back
The
and
back
forth,
and
so I
forth.
put extra time on there. But the 3 minutes at this point. were-
Well, let me give you 30 seconds to,
no, that's all right. I don't need it.
okay, I think
I
we've
don't
got,
want to reach your 3 minutes.
no, I think you,
Mrs. Marks in private before, and I did make her aware of the June 4th meeting and the online survey. So, you know, if you want to come to that June 4th
There's also
meeting,
a
that's what you
paper
call that.
survey too. Doesn't have to be online.
Oh, they have
Survey.
I don't have a computer.
No, they have a
Yeah,
paper
if you, I think if you stop
at the
to the-
town hall and
the
the
town hall,
library.
right.
They have an actual paper version of the online survey. It's
Okay.
the same exact thing, but if you don't have access to a
I
computer,
don't.
and that's perfectly fine. You're more than welcome to stop in the town hall or the library, and they'll be happy to give you the paper version of the survey for you to complete. And in that survey, there is sections that you could write in.
it's not multiple choice.
No. So you have an opportunity, and you could also prepare ahead of time if you wanted to write a letter and staple it. You're more than welcome to do that as well.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Yeah.
I'll give myself 3 minutes to do that.
All right. Is there any other public comment in the live audience? In our online audience, would anyone like to raise your hand?
There is a hand raised.
Who is that?
Somebody named S. Guest.
All right. S. Guest, the floor is yours for 3 minutes. Unmute perhaps?
It looks like they're unmuted. They've been turned on.
You can walk one more.
No, yeah, the microphone's on next to them, so they are.
Okay, anyone else, Larry?
No, that was the only one.
All right.
We've got the hand over the
Came back.
Well, no, the hand did not get lowered, so lower it now and see if they come back. It came back. Give them another shot. Whoops, no. Where they? No, they withdrew it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Next, I invite a motion to go into executive session to discuss a personnel matter
Inviting Chief Walsh.
and inviting Chief Walsh and
So moved.
John Bertram.
Who's in attendance with this?
Chief Walsh.
Acting Chief Walsh and Counsel John Bertram.
Thank you.
Jessica, you made the motion,
Yep, so moved.
a second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. We are out of executive session. Next item, discussion and possible action concerning a citizen complaint about an arrest involving the alleged theft of a motor vehicle. In light of our discussions, that item is moot at this point. Comments from the acting chief?
Yes, thanks. Just want to thank everybody for all the support, here on the commission and in town. Everybody's been very helpful. And it is just a busy time. In the next month, we're going to have Memorial Day Parade, law enforcement torch run, dare graduation, middle school graduation, high school graduation, and the Saybrook Summer Festival. So it's going to be an exciting month coming up. So probably a lot to report next month.
Very good. Thank you. Comments from commissioners? Anyone around the table?
Well, I just wanted to remind everyone about the June 4th Community Forum, which is concerning our search for the next chief. We're asking community members to consider the qualities they would like to see in the next chief. We hope everyone will come and share their thoughts. It's at the middle school at 6:30. And there's also a survey that's available on the town website for community members who won't be able to make it to the forum. to fill out and submit. So please look for that if you're interested.
In the town hall.
Town hall and the library.
And it's at the town hall and the library as well as a paper copy.
Yes.
Jessica?
Yes, I just have one thing to say. At the budget, at the budget vote, a lady came up to me and she said that she had an incident recently where her husband fell and her son and her couldn't get him up. So they called the police to come and help. And she had nothing but great things to say about the two police officers that showed up. And she almost had a tear in her eye of how grateful she was for those officers. She didn't remember the names. She did say that one of the guys, the first name was Charles. So if that gives any inclination of who it is, but so I just wanted to pass that along.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I just want to remind everybody, I emailed Chubb, I won't be at the June 23rd meeting, so everyone can have a good time that night.
You will be missed.
Yes, you will be missed.
All right.
I'm
Thank
all
you.
sorry.
I just want to thank you for all the hard work that you're doing, and we appreciate it. So thank you.
I'm sure you are more than earning that emolument.
Yes.
It's been
All right.
fun, so.
Well, that's good.
I invite a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
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 All right. Thank you.